You're listening to Suburban Happy Hour with Anne-Marie
and Julia
and Justyna,
the podcast where we make delicious cocktails
or mocktails
and talk about everything under the sun.
Because the best conversations happen at happy hour. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Suburban Happy Hour. Today we have, yet again, just all the best guests, guys. This is Justyna. Yay! Thanks for being here today.
Happy to be here.
We know Justyna from high school, right?
Yeah.
And she went to a different junior high than us, but still we all kind of like ran in the same circle. So yeah, that's how we know Justyna. And for a drink of choice, she kind of let me pick. So I did a mojito mocktail version. And we're all doing mocktails, and they're freaking good. I like them.
Yeah, she
I'm
kind of
like,
popped
I
off.
need to be a bartender somewhere.
So
I'm getting better because our first season, when it was just me and Anne-Marie, like I would just make stuff up and it really wasn't working. So this is obviously a recipe.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I executed it well.
This
is good.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
You'll have to try it with alcohol to see if you like it the same.
Mm-hmm.
What goes
Next
in a
time.
mojito? Is it vodka?
I think
Or
it's
rum?
It's rum.
Bacardi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
rum. But I mean, no, it has to be for a mojito. It has to be rum.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be like I used agave and sugar. It's just supposed to be just sugar, technically, in a real mojito. But
Well, it's
whatever.
it's
It's still
good.
good.
So
It adds a little
It's so
flavor
good.
to it. It is
Thank
good.
you guys.
Oh my gosh.
But for our topic today, I'm so excited. So Justyna is one of the first mommies of our like people that we know. So we definitely want to dig deep with you and kind of figure out how is it like to be a mom?
I know, I'm
Like,
so
that's
excited to
something we
hear
all
it.
talk about, you know.
I know.
I remember when I was a little girl, I was like, okay, by the time I'm 24, I'm gonna have
Oh, God,
two
I
kids
know.
in my own house and yada yada yada. Yeah, that's not in the horizon for me, but it was for you, and I'm so pumped to
I thought
listen.
I would be living in a mansion
Yeah.
and with a Lamborghini.
Yes, literally.
Like the perfect MASH life. You remember those
Yeah,
like
yeah,
cards?
Yes. 24 kids.
Yeah.
Right. There, no number was too high. And then you realize, oh, wait, you have to pay for all those kids.
Oh, yeah,
But-
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're older, you realize that you just have to, like, pay for life. You
Yeah.
know? And,
Mhm.
and that's
It's
sad.
definitely a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. But that's not the topic of today. But
We're lighthearted today.
exactly. But no, can't wait to hear all about mommy life. But standard, how are the 20s treating you so far, Justyna?
Honestly, I feel like I've been like shook over and over and over.
Okay.
I feel like I've gotten like hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally like just life just is like turning. 20 years old, I meet my husband.
Okay.
Okay, so like
Where
I
did you
wasn't
guys
even
meet?
like so this is like a long story. I went to ASU my freshman year.
That's right.
And then I went to Loyola my sophomore year because I had like some family stuff going on. I wanted to be closer to home. And I actually roomed with one of our like mutual people we know, Morgan Gold.
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
And I've known her since kindergarten. And she was like, you know what? Like one of my friends is looking for a roommate too. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Rent 3 ways. Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was his sister.
Oh my gosh.
And she's my age. Brady is 30, so he's
Okay.
5 years older than us.
Okay.
And his sister, like the whole year we lived together, was like, you guys would get along. I'm like, whatever, Jenna.
Yeah,
Like, get
yeah.
out of my face, you know. And then come like March, she was like showing me pictures of her family.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of dating someone in March, but that's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
like zoomed in on Brady, and I was like,
Who's that?
who is that? And
She's like, I'm only the person I've been telling you about.
literally,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, the brother, but too bad he's dating someone in medical school, and she's really pretty. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm dating someone too. But things ended up not working out for him. Things ended up not working out for me. I went back to Arizona. Winter break of that year, he messaged me on Instagram, and he was like, hey, Jenna's been talking a lot about you.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say hey. And I bought a car here in Chicago and was driving it to Arizona. And my first stop was Kansas City, where he lived.
Oh my gosh.
And we met up. And then the next month, he flew out to see me in Arizona, and the rest is history.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aw.
Kind of
That's
like a little
awesome.
bit of a slow burn at the beginning,
Yeah.
but for
It's like
another
a
things. But
rom-com, like,
yeah.
it was honestly like the moment I met him, I was like,
this is my husband.
See,
That
it's
is
like
my
when you know,
husband.
you know.
Oh,
yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I was
Wow.
like, that's daddy.
Mhm.
And now
Yeah.
Literally, that's
now
actually
he
daddy.
is. So,
Oh my God, that's awesome.
and then, so I met my husband at 20. And, you know, I was 19 and I was like, I'm going to have the most fun time in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like, time to be a thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
we're
excited. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my husband and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, slay, awesome,
Yeah.
beautiful. And then, like, things got more serious. He moved out to Arizona. We lived together and I was like, I'm a whole ass wife.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, holy cow, what is happening? We got a dog together, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I love
I'm
your
a
dog, by the way.
mommy.
Yeah.
I love her so
I
much.
know, she's the best.
And then all of a sudden, I'm getting married,
Mm-hmm.
and then right before my wedding, I find out I'm pregnant.
It was right before your wedding.
Right before my wedding,
I did not know that. Oh, wow.
I
So you
found
found
out-
out right before your wedding?
Yes,
Oh.
I got married August 25th.
Uh-huh.
I found out I was pregnant on my birthday, August 2nd
Wow.
of last year.
I just got the chills. I did not
Oh
know
my
that.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we found that was one of the questions was Theo plan? No.
No, Theo was not planned. Theo was before Brady's bachelor party.
Oh.
Oopsie doopsie.
Yeah.
But you know what? The best things are unexpected.
Yeah.
So, you know, it worked out.
Exactly.
You know? And then, like, oh my gosh, this past year, 25 has just been, like, insane for me. I moved from Arizona to Chicago, started a new job, started night shift for the first time in 5 years. I was at, like, a day shifter the whole
Right.
time in Arizona.
Oh, that's nice.
And then find out I'm pregnant. And then a few weeks later, get married.
Right.
And then work night shift. And then give birth. And then a month after I give birth, I move out to the suburbs again.
Yeah.
And then I start a new job right after.
Girl,
Oh my
maternity leave.
gosh.
I'm
It's
like,
just been go, go,
You've been go.
like, am I all right?
Yeah. Are you all
What is
right?
happening? Am I okay?
Jeez.
You know what? I'm getting there. It's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sometimes
Wow.
life really just like comes full force and it just
Yeah.
has like so many things at once. But
Right.
It's really like life has a funny way of showing you like where you're meant to be and like that's okay because I feel like I compare myself to like a lot of like my friends who like aren't married, don't have kids, and I'm like, wow, like I am like the lamest one of the group. But then I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody's
No.
own journey.
Yeah.
like
You know?
everybody's on their own journey. Everyone has their
Exactly.
own timeline, and there isn't like a you need to do XYZ by this date.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna cruise.
Yes.
yeah.
Just gonna hang out.
Exactly.
And I see like that's so
yeah.
funny because even like you saying that from the opposite side, I was always like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have kids right now, and it's like I don't, and like I mean, none of my friends really do either, but it was just I don't know, like the people on the other side think that too. Like we all want
Vice versa.
what each
Yeah.
other
What-
has,
Right.
and
Exactly.
it's not that we don't already love what we have, but we always like look at
Always
other
wonder
things,
and
yeah,
like, compare, and that's just human nature.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that your life, whatever you're doing at that time, isn't just as amazing as like the other person.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to kind of disconnect that
Exactly.
sometimes.
It's like
you know?
I feel like I'm like living vicariously through
Yeah.
a lot of my friends, and that's totally fine.
Right.
Because I'm like, you know what, like. I don't necessarily know that I'd want to be doing what they're doing, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like now
Exactly.
that I can't, I'm like,
it would be nice,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Staying up till like 4 a.m. at the club. Okay.
I'm like, maybe I would love that.
Yeah.
But then, like being there, I'd probably
like,
not love that. I'd be
Exactly.
like, where's my baby?
I know, because like from the outside looking in, like whenever I see you post Theo, I'm like,
Oh my god.
oh my gosh, like
Your birthday posts are so cute. Happy
Oh, I
belated
know. Oh my
birthday
gosh.
again.
Thank you.
Oh my
He-
gosh.
he's just the cutest.
He's the cutest
I just
baby.
can't wait to hear more about your
I
life.
know. Literally. This is
Because at
Amory's
this
dream
moment, I'm
episode.
living vicariously through
This is
you.
Amory's
Literally,
dream.
Come meet him anytime.
Oh my gosh, he's so
He's just
cute.
a little munchkin.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
How old is he?
He is going to be 4 months on the 12th.
Okay. Okay.
So I gave
He's
birth to him
growing.
April 12th. That was quite the experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really awesome and fun. Loved it.
But no, I guess you've been through a lot, girl. I was gonna ask you, what's like the biggest thing you've had to overcome thus far?
Yeah.
You had a lot to
It
pick
seems
from.
like a
So,
lot.
are any of them like at the top of the list that you could say?
Honestly, I feel like all the moving has been kind of hard. I feel like leaving my friends behind in Arizona was really hard.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Brady and I knew we wanted to start a family, and our lease was up in Arizona, and we were like, what's a better time than, you know, moving there right before our wedding?
Yeah.
And just like being settled in after our wedding and being able to like focus on each other and like have family nearby, because in Arizona we had nobody. Like we didn't have family there. But I think that's like the hardest part, was like losing like that support system in Arizona, because especially a lot of my friends there are now having babies and having
so
baby boys, and like, you know, like that's like hard, but at the same time, like I have amazing friends here, so I'm like, you know, it's fine. Like they're not having babies, but they still love seeing my babies.
Yes,
so I'm like,
exactly.
that's totally fine. And like, I feel like that was hard for me at first, and I had like a really difficult time with that, especially when I got pregnant and I found out like some of my best friends in Arizona also were pregnant, and I was like, well, that sucks, you know. And it probably was also like because I was living in the city, and I kind of realized I'm not a city girl.
Not everybody can do that city life.
I'm kind of a suburb slut.
Yeah.
Love my long walks where I don't have to be like checking over my shoulder.
100%.
Have my key in between my fingers. I'm like,
and you were in like a pretty, I mean, I feel like every part of the city is pretty crazy, but you were in like a well-populated area. So
Wrigley was,
I can only imagine living there.
An experience. And I'm sure it would have been a great experience had I not found out I was pregnant a month into living there. So,
oh my god.
Wow. Oh, so wow, you were pregnant the whole time in the city?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, she told us that train story.
That's right. I didn't
the whole time I was in the city, I was pregnant.
So you just so you moved to where you're at 5 months ago?
In May.
Okay, so after Theo was born.
Yes, after
that's right. Because
Theo
you
was
said you
born.
moved with a 1-month-old.
Yes.
Oh dang, girl, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have not been fun at all. No.
That was difficult too.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, how was it though, like getting around the city when you were pregnant and stuff? Like I can't even like I really can't imagine
the people who are
living
in the city
in
watching this. What do you mean?
I
bitch?
know they're literally like it's just like getting around here, but I don't know. It's just like the city seems so chaotic, and I feel like
It was just like,
on top of everything, I don't even know.
Overstimulation. Anybody that would bump into me, I was like, these fucking people. I hate my life. I'm like, I'm gonna go home and cry about it. Later. Like,
oh my god.
And they like would bump into me, and I'm like, can't you see I'm pregnant? And they literally couldn't. I'd wear like baggy sweatshirts and jackets, and I'm like, it was an experience.
Yeah.
And
you did it.
I did it.
And
that's all that matters.
And I came out all right.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So kind of going into that though, is there anything now? I mean, your life has drastically changed, I feel. And we'll kind of dig into that a little bit more as this episode goes on. But is there anything you're kind of leaning into now, moving forward in your 20s?
You know, I'm kind of just like going along with mommyhood, going along with being a wife, and like even just a person in my 20s. I think I'm just kind of leaning into like being where I'm at. Like not, like I said, living vicariously, not longing for the things that I don't have, but rather just like being present.
That's
in my life that I have right now. Because there was a time 3 years ago even where I was longing for the life that I have right now, and I have it and I'm there, but every time, you know, you're looking back, you're like, oh, I made it to where I wanted to be X amount of years ago. You're like, well, you know what, like I wish I could have this now. And it's like, I'm just like tired of having that mentality, and I don't want to kind of impose that mentality on Theo either, where it's like, oh, well, I wish I want him to be like happy with what he has. So like I'm trying to learn that too. I think that's what I'm gonna like lean into for the rest of my 20s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Being in the freaking moment, man, it's tough to do.
100%.
And it's an active choice every day to be
So
in the
hard.
moment. So
I know, because you always just see other people doing things that you want to do, but you have to realize, and I just love how you said, like, 3 years ago, this is like the life that you wanted to live, but now you're like yearning for other things. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And also
know.
good for you that you are where you want to be. That's awesome.
Listen, 3 years ago, all I wanted was a house.
Yeah.
you have a couple extra things in there.
A husband, a child,
A dog.
home, a dog.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You got it
"Jeez,
all."
girl.
Yeah.
Let's slow down a little bit.
Exactly. Enjoy the moment. I like that. That's a really good one. And I feel like we all can do a better job of that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So now kind of jumping into the topic that we were here to discuss, kind of you leaning into motherhood and all the changes that have come with that. So the first thing me and Julia would like to know is just a little bit more about your life before you were a mom. What were kind of your main priorities then? What were your interests? What did that look like?
Yeah. I was actually just talking to Brady about this. I would say like not a lot of like my priorities or interests have really changed since becoming a mom.
Oh, nice.
Like I feel like I've always been like a very like chill and like relaxed person. Like I like to read. I like to be outside. Like in Arizona, I would hike. I would meet up with friends. I would read on the couch, you know? And I feel like the only thing that's like very different for me now that I'm a mom is like I don't really have the free time to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's like when I do have the free time, I want to spend that with my child. Whereas before it was like, oh, well, I want to go meet up with friends. I want to go do stuff. I want to go travel. And like, don't get me wrong, I'd still love to travel, but like, bitch is poor, okay? Like, she has a child.
Yeah.
Now. And it's like, I feel like my priorities back then were like, also like, oh, well, do it for the gram, you know? Like, let's have fun. Let's do it for the gram. And now it's like, my Instagram is literally my child.
You do it for Theo now.
My child. I'm like, I don't even care how I look as long as Theo looks good.
Yes.
Like, as long as he looks cute, it's all good. Like, I feel like now it's more like prioritizing him and like my family. And like, that's why it's been hard to like come to social gatherings and like do things because it's like, well, is my husband going to be home to watch Theo?
Yeah.
Or, you know, am I going to be the one watching Theo? And
Right.
half the time I'd rather watch Theo than like go and do stuff.
Exactly.
Which is like kind of healthy, but kind of unhealthy too, because it's like you need your adult time.
Yeah, that's, I guess, one of the questions. We'll get into that, obviously, but because that's how I feel like if I had a baby, I'd want to spend all my time with the baby, but is that bad? Is that like, are you too obsessed with your baby? I don't know. Like, but that's interesting that you brought that up. Or it's, you know.
I wouldn't even say it's like bad, but it's like you need that adult interaction, otherwise you will go crazy. Like, I don't think I realized that until I went back to work. I was like, I am having adult conversations not revolving around my child.
Yes.
I'm like, this is like, I need this. I need social interaction, which is like why I'm kind of like starting to step out of my comfort zone. And like, I'm going to book club on Friday. I'm like doing these things like with my friends. And like a lot of my friends have been so great about like being like, hey, let's go and do this. Let's go to breakfast. Like bring
That's
Theo
awesome.
with.
Yeah.
And like, that's been like really helpful as a mom too. Because it's like, I think one of the things that I was most worried about becoming a mom is that I would lose out on a lot of my friendships because now I'm the boring friend. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'm the mom. Like, don't invite her. She's not gonna come because she's a
Yeah.
mom. You
No.
know?
Yeah.
But
no,
it's like-
I understand.
But it's like I think it's been really encouraging to see that like a lot of my friends haven't been like that at all. They're like,
Yeah.
when can I see the baby?
Yeah.
Bring the baby or come out.
I feel like I see my friends more now than when I was in the city.
Yeah. Can you go a little bit more into, so that was one of the initial thoughts you had when you first found out you're going to be a mom. What other thoughts kind of were going through your head when you found out you're pregnant?
Oh shit.
Okay.
I am getting married in a few weeks. How am I going to hide this from everybody? Is my mom going to be pissed? Polish people are big drinkers. How am I going to not drink at my wedding? Am I not going to drink at the day after party? I'm like, people are going to have questions. They're going to notice.
Yep.
And how am I going to have a baby in the city?
Yeah.
How am I gonna have a baby in the city? How am I gonna afford a baby? It was like all the anxieties of like, you know, becoming a parent. Like, it's like, I'm sure the thoughts that you guys have had where it's like, oh, having a baby would be fun, but like, what about this? And what about this? And who's gonna watch them? And it was like a bunch of stuff, but then Brady has like a good way of kind of pulling me back from my anxiety. And he's like, babe, you're pregnant and we just got to get through it. He's like, it's all right. Like, we're just going to get through it. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, do you think your parents knew like what to do? Like, I'm sure they were nervous too. I'm sure they were scared too.
Right.
And like, when I told my mom, she's a Eastern European woman, and as soon as you tell her something, she wants to run off and tell everybody.
Oh my god, yep.
And
Especially
like,
the Polish community, they love talking.
I'm like, girl, I need to tell you something, but you need to
Yeah. Don't say
don't say anything. And she's like, okay, and I was like, I'm pregnant, and she was just silent. I was like,
hello.
like, hello. She's like, you're pregnant. And I said, yeah. And I'm like crying at this point. I'm like, are you mad at me? And she's like, I'm not mad at you. She's like, what are we going to do about the wedding? I'm like, I'm not, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I was like, you just have to like kind of, you know, reroute the drinks. And at our wedding, Brady ended up rerouting all of the drinks and
to
had
himself.
a really good time. He had a really good time.
Okay.
So good for Brady.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to share if you don't want to. What was the reason to not tell people when you first found out?
Yes. So I have always like heard to wait until 12 weeks. And,
Okay.
like, my mom is like very superstitious too. She's like, wait until things are certain, because when you tell people too early, it's gonna go away.
I'm the same way with anything. I'm very
Yes.
okay. That makes sense. Because at that point, it was do you know how far along you were when you found out?
I was only like 5 weeks.
Oh wow. Okay.
When I found out.
Okay, then
So-
yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, I was like very, very early. I hadn't even had my ultrasound yet. And it was like, I wanted to wait until I had an ultrasound to make sure that it was like in my uterus.
Right.
Like, and it was an actual pregnancy. And like, I have had an ectopic pregnancy.
Oh, you have?
I have, yeah. In the past, I got pregnant with an IUD.
Oh, wow.
And it ended up being
yeah.
ectopic.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah, which was like, so I was like, I kind of want to just wait.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
I don't want too many people knowing, because that time around I was like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then like, I was like, if I do that again, it's going to happen again.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's okay. I didn't know how far that makes total sense. That's my mom's. That's so funny. I don't know if it is like such a Polish thing, but because from her experiences in the past and stuff with her, whatever. But yeah, it's usually like with the first 3 months, if it's good, then, you know, it'll.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel like I'm like that with things too. Like, if I have a job interview, I don't tell people.
Yes.
I know,
I
damn.
don't tell people until I get an offer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not telling any of y'all what's going on. I'm like, how's the job search? Fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's going good.
No
Right.
worries.
Yeah, I'm a very superstitious person like that when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially with my job too. I'm like, don't fucking worry about it. When it's closed, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
So it was easy enough to like hide at the wedding. Like Brady did a good job of taking over.
Oh yes. I had a shot, and everyone would be like, yeah, woo, and I'd be like, yeah, like handing off my drink to him, and he's like, whoo, he's like, oh, that was good. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it was, buddy. At the end of the night, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay?
Might have went a little overboard.
Need some pizza and water.
That's so funny. But that's nice that he was, you know, there to support all of that too, and just kind of be there to make sure everything was running smoothly there.
Yeah.
But now, like, going into actually having Theo, do you want to share any part of your birth story, or like how that was? You don't have to, because I know that's like just like kind of the days leading up to it. Like, how was that?
You know, I would have posted a long Instagram caption, but nobody reads that shit. I'm sorry. Nobody reads it. I ended up being induced at my due date because I was 39 weeks pregnant and little Theo was still sitting up by my titties. Okay. He was like still up here and he was supposed to have been dropped.
Yeah.
I was already dilated.
Oh, wow.
Like, I had such bad pain that they took me out of work a week early. Like, I couldn't bear weight on my legs for too long. I couldn't even, like, put on pants without sitting down. I couldn't roll over in bed by myself because it was just, like, so much pain.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor that Monday, and my due date was that Friday, and they scheduled an induction. And basically, the induction process is like a lottery. You either get picked or you don't because it's voluntary. So, like, if they have room, they'll take you. It's fine. So we got word on Wednesday that I was going to be induced on Friday. We went in at 3:30 a.m. on Friday. Theo was born 2:45 p.m.
Girl.
But I didn't I don't know what it means to like labor or whatever. I'm like, are you talking about like when I started having real strong contractions, or are you talking about like the whole process, like getting the IV?
Yeah.
So I got the IV. I got my first epidural.
You had more than one.
Oh my God.
It was super awesome.
That's half the day. Can you imagine half the day?
No.
Oh my gosh.
My first freaking epidural at like 7:30. It failed at 10.
Oh my gosh.
And in that hour that it failed, it was like 10 to like 11:30. I'm not kidding you. I was seeing stars. I was praying to Jesus. I was praying to whoever would listen.
Yeah.
I was like blacking out.
Oh my
God. It was not fun. They were like, do you want a second epidural? I'm like, yes,
Why didn't you already put it in?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And I'm like sobbing. I'm crying. But in that hour, so like it's typically normal to dilate 1 centimeter an hour. I dilated 4 in an hour.
Oh my gosh. And
I
of
was
course,
not
the
well.
hour you don't have your epidural.
Oh my gosh.
Not well.
Yeah.
So they got the second epidural in, and my OB came in and she's like, "Hey," and I was, "How you doing?" I was like, she's like, "Yeah, how you doing?" And I was like,
Yeah.
like at that point, I was feeling good.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm great. And she's like, you want some time, or do you want to like? She like checked, and she's like, you could push now if you want, or I could give you 30 minutes. And I'm like, please give me 30 minutes. I'm like, that was so hard. I'm like, during that whole hour that whole fiasco was happening, I'm like on my hands and knees, like,
Oh my
freaking cow. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh my. That's what scares me about pregnancy.
yeah, it's hard. But I would go through that a million times over just for that moment of them putting Theo on my chest. I'm like, hi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, so then whatever, she gave me that 30 minutes, came back in. I pushed for 20 minutes and he came out. Brady swears. Brady swears that he came out and he was like purple and not breathing for like so long.
Oh
and
my
I'm
gosh. It's just.
I'm like, Brady, it literally was not that long. Like, yes, he came out and he was purple. His cord was wrapped around his neck.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
But, like, it wasn't as long as he thought. He was like, it felt like hours.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
sure
like
in that
I'm
moment,
sure it's like, oh my
it
God,
feels-
you
Me,
know.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Did you know what was happening, or were you
I like
just
saw
like?
him and I was like, he's purple. I'm like, it's kind of taken a while for him to cry. And then all of a sudden he went,
Yeah.
and then they put him on my chest and I was like,
Aw,
what a
there's
nice
my baby.
Wow.
During like the whole birth process, my OB is like very much like involving Brady, and then my mom was at my side too. And she's like, Dad, you want to touch the head? When it's like, how am I out of me?
Yeah.
I was like, I really
Please just get him away from.
But
What's happening?
Get
And then she's
Yeah.
like, Mom, you want to touch the head? And I'm like drugged up. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like leaning forward as my mother and my husband are holding my legs, and I'm like, touching the head. I'm not shitting
gosh.
you. It feels like Jello, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Like actually, I don't want to
my
do that
God.
anymore.
a little something. And she literally handed Brady the scissors. Didn't even ask him. She's like, here,
Just cut the cord.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
fine.
Can you mess that part up, or is it just like pretty?
It's so one of Brady's friends gave birth in like November.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he was like, really grab a hold of those scissors. He's like, because it's so tough to cut the cord, the scissors fell out of my hand. He probably was
Like literally, that would literally be me if I ever had that. I'd be like,
well, Brady's a nurse also.
oh, that's right. Okay.
He had his clinicals in OB, and he was at a birth already, so this wasn't like new to him. But the doctor literally handed him the cord after the dad cut it. He's like, here you go. And Brady's like, what the fuck do I do with this? He's like,
Yeah, what are
this
you
is some
supposed to-
random lady's fucking umbilical cord.
Oh, when he was in his clinical, I thought
Yes.
this with yours.
Oh,
He's like,
oh my gosh.
No. With mine, he was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
oh my god, yeah, like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to put this?
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So that was my birth story, and it was beautiful and wonderful.
Okay.
And I would recommend an epidural, but like if you're a natural girly, more power to you, and
Right.
God bless you.
Yeah.
I really, really look up to you.
Yeah.
That could not be me.
You had a taste of that.
Yeah.
I had a little taste, a little lick.
Yeah.
And I'm
No.
good, I'm
Immediately
good.
no. You're
Oh
like,
my
nope.
gosh.
Isn't an epidural, is that like huge? Is it huge or no?
Guys, I couldn't even see the needle. If I saw the
Okay.
needle, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Just don't show it to me.
but
Okay.
I did hear it is a big needle. It is
Okay.
quite large.
Yeah.
And they have you like curve over like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because that goes in your spine?
Right, because it has to get
Okay.
into your spine.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, well, power to you. Power to all women, actually. who
Literally
popped
that.
out a child or two or
Yeah.
3 or 4.
That is,
My
I
God.
can't
I
imagine.
have a coworker and she just had 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, I didn't have an epidural with any of them.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
okay.
oh, okay, Queen Papa. Because I almost died without mine. So I literally probably didn't almost die. And I'm like, please. Guys, I'm not shitting you. I was like, please, Lord, take me. Like,
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, there's like some videos, like when influencers or whatnot post, like when they're in the hospital and they look like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I can't. It looks like you're in the worst amount of pain. I'm like, I don't
You
know.
have those influencers that are posting like,
Oh, I know. Then after, yeah.
A full beat.
and the baby just pops out, and I'm like,
Like, let that be me. Hurry up. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Dude.
that's another thing. I feel like, I mean, I can't really attest to this because I've never had a child, but labor seems so different for every single person. And even like every pregnancy, I've like heard, even my mom was like, the difference between me and my brother was like night and day. So it's just like, you never know what you're going to get.
no, it's kind of a toss.
Yeah.
Right. That's very interesting. Same thing with my cousins. All 3 of my cousins had kids in the past half a year. One literally popped her baby out in 2 hours, was done. Like, sayonara.
Yeah.
The other one had to be induced and was there for like a day and a half because it was real bad. The other one, I think she was fine, but they had to put like a balloon in her vagina to like open it up and stuff.
My God.
So everybody's was very different.
I hope if I ever have a kid, it's smooth.
Right. I don't know. But,
Like,
or you're gonna be like me where I'm like,
yeah.
and my husband's
Oh my
like
gosh.
calling the nurse and he's like, something's wrong.
help my wife.
She's not doing well.
Oh no.
Oh my
God, I
gosh.
can only imagine. I don't even want to think about that.
No, I mean, I see things online too of like where the dads like pass out, or I'm like,
Yeah, like,
what are you doing? Like, you're just
you
no,
can't handle your
no.
shit, get out the
Yeah,
room.
literally, like, or
You're not
they're like,
helping.
I'm like sweating over here, like, and the wife is literally like pushing so hard, like screaming, and the dad's like, oh, man, this is scary. Like, okay,
Like, oh,
you're
it
just
must have been
standing
so
there.
hard for you to not.
Right.
And I'm carrying your child for 9 months.
Yeah,
Literally. Oh my
Literally.
gosh.
Oh my, that's crazy.
But so now that you're a mom, how is that like your thought of what it was going to be like to be a mom versus now actually being a mom? Is there a big difference, or do you feel like you were kind of prepared?
You know, this is going to sound real bad. Okay. I feel like if I didn't have a dog, I would be completely shook. Like,
Okay.
to my core. Like, not having a responsibility for something.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden being responsible for a whole human.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have been like, what
is going on?
fuck did I just do?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. And then I feel like also like my experience at Lurie's really like helped me become more confident in like feedings and changing diapers.
That's right. Yeah, you kind of are ahead of the game.
Like, I was like feeling super good and super confident. But I guess like throughout my pregnancy, I was so sick. I didn't get to like enjoy my pregnancy. So I feel like that was a bummer because you have those like, again, on social media, like those moms that are like, I love being pregnant. It's like the best experience of my life. And they're like glowing and happy. And I'm literally like sick for like 30 out of the 40 weeks.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Great. This is like so fun. And like,
yeah.
I feel like motherhood though, in general, like I feel like I didn't really have like much of an expectation for it. Like I was like, you know what? Like I'm going to be a mom and it's going to be great. I think what was giving me the most anxiety approaching motherhood was like, is it all going to be on me? Because you also see the other side on social media where it's like the mom does everything.
Right.
And the dad's just
That's very real.
chilling
Yeah.
and doing nothing and hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it all going to be on me? Like, I have the titties. You know,
Yeah.
I've got the food.
Yeah.
Is it going to be me waking up the entire time and, like, Brady just sleeping and, like, you know, me having that resentment? But honestly, like, Brady's been, like, super amazing. And, like, if Theo wakes up in the middle of the night, I'm whipping a titty out. Brady's getting him, like, bringing him to me, changing his diaper.
Yeah, as it should be, you know.
Yeah. It's like, it was completely, like, it changed my view of him, like, as a person. Because I was like, I literally could not do this life without you. Holy cow. I'm like, this has been an eye-opener to me. Like, you are, like, the partner. You are my teammate.
Yeah.
And that's
like,
so
awesome.
important because, like you said, I feel like sometimes it does fall on the mom in a lot of situations. So it's nice that you have your partner and you can like really rely on him. But did you have to have like conversations about that at all, or was it just kind of like Theo came and you both kind of just like got right into what you needed to do?
We did not really like have conversations. I guess like we've always had conversations, like, this is kind of crazy pants, but even like a month into like us seeing each other, I was like how would you parent your kid?
Okay. Well, that's
And like
so
what
important.
kind of parent do you want to be? And like from the beginning, like our views just aligned. He's like, I don't want to be like a take a step back dad. I want to be immersed. I want to be a huge part of my kids' lives. I want to be like the coach. I want to he's like, most of all, I want to like be supportive of you because I know like a lot of responsibility falls on mom's shoulders. And he's like, so I want to be like your teammate. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, let's make one now. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, he's been incredible. And like, I feel like as soon as Theo was born, it was like something like clicked in him and he's like, all right, I'm a dad now.
Yeah.
And I'm not only your husband, but I'm your teammate and we're going to work together on this. And
That's amazing.
so amazing.
I know, because unfortunately some people don't get that, so it's so nice that you guys just kind of fell into that. It's almost just like you guys were meant to be parents and parents together, and that's just so like heartwarming to hear. So I'm so glad that that's like how it's going for you, because
that's really awesome.
a lot of, like I said, a lot of people don't have that, so that's really awesome.
And it's like, that's like, I feel like the biggest piece of advice that I have for people is like, when you're thinking about having kids, think about your partner as a parent.
That's
like,
important.
can you see them being a good partner to you as a parent? Like, can you see them being involved? Can you see them like going out of their way to make sure that not only baby's okay, but that you're okay too? Because a lot falls on the woman's shoulders, unfortunately. And like, if you're not okay as a mom, your baby's not going to be okay.
Yep.
Right.
Your baby picks up your vibe. Like, your baby vibe checks you.
Yeah.
If I'm sad, Theo's screaming. You
Aw,
know,
of
like,
course.
What's wrong?
if I'm having a hard day, Theo's like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like mom and baby kind of feed off of each other. And like, I'm sorry to the men, but like, dad is there.
Yeah.
Dad is there to like make sure that you're both okay so that you're all okay as a family.
Yeah.
Like, that's my biggest piece of advice is like, make sure you pick a partner that is going to support you through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people have kids with the wrong person and it's hard. Like, it's really, really hard. And I'm not saying parenthood is like amazing and so easy.
Right.
But like,
having a good team makes it that much easier to get through the tough times.
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
How have you really like balanced those tough times, or even like making sure, so like you said that Brady's kind of really there to step in just to like help you out as well. How do you guys make sure that like you both are like giving each other like that self-love? Like you both are kind of letting each other do what you guys like to do separately, but still like coming together as a family too. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I feel like we know, like, during the day, that's the time we have with Theo. When he goes to sleep, that is our time.
Okay.
That is our time. We also check in with each other throughout the day. It's like, hey, do you need to step away for 5 minutes? Do you need to go outside? Do you need to read your book? Like, do you need a break?
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm good. How about you? No, I'm good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, too, that's like, we know that's our time together, even if it's just literally laying down in bed and reading together, or like laying down in bed and just like, even like touching each other.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how we do it. And at the, like, in the middle of the day, if we're all home together, we always like do like a vibe check. Like, hey, do you need to step out?
Yeah.
Do you need to go?
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, like, you're going to go crazy. You're going to go crazy. And like, I had to learn very early on that I can't be a good mom if I don't have even like 5 minutes to myself.
Right. Because you're always on when you're a mom.
Yeah.
Because I got to, I guess it was honestly a privilege to see my brother grow up.
Oh, that's right.
Because I lived at home when he was born, and like, your baby is your life, day in, day out. It's, you don't clock out, you know? So if you don't find that time to really take a second for yourself, even if it is like 10 minutes to like go outside and look at the sky, I don't know.
Yeah, just like take a minute.
You will go nuts.
Literally,
you know?
feel your toes in the grass.
Right.
Like something. That's why when Brady and I have like a really good way of seeing how, when one another needs a break. So like, if I see that he's getting a little bit like overstimulated, overwhelmed, I'm like, hey, I've got him.
Yeah.
Go do this. Or I've got him. You go do whatever you want to do. You know? And I was like talking to Brady, and I was like, how do you think, like, I was reading him the question. I'm like, how do you think your life has changed? Like, since being a dad?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, like, in my free time, I feel like I prioritize more like just calming activities and me time. He's like, I used to be so concerned about like what my friends are doing, and what my friends are up to, and oh my gosh, my friends haven't talked to me. He's like, now it's like, all right, I have like a minute to myself. How am I doing?
Right.
Like, what can I do to be like a better version of me so that Theo gets a better version of
That's
me?
awesome.
You know?
It's incredible how like your priorities shift
Mm-hmm.
once that, you know,
100%.
third little guy or girl comes into the picture, you know?
100%. Yeah.
So what does like a day in the life of you guys look like? Like a Saturday, what does that look like for you guys?
Ooh, so Theo loves waking up at 5 a.m.
Of course.
and he's hungry.
Yeah.
So my day starts off whipping out a titty.
Yeah.
Okay. And Theo is just, you know, he's eating. I'm like, oh, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Theo after eating, we'll probably sleep until like 7, and 7 is like when we wake up. 7. So it's like 5 a.m. titty, sleep, 7 titty, awake. And I'm like, all right, let's get our day started.
Yeah.
And like that's been an adjustment for Brady and I both, because we both worked night shift, so we were like sleeping throughout the days. And now we're up at 7 a.m.
Right.
So we'll like honestly like get around the house. We'll set up like Theo's play mats and toys and all of that good stuff, just so that like he has a place to be entertained.
Right,
we'll put him in his little chair, make breakfast, and then we'll take a family walk with the dog, like Theo in his little stroller. And then Brady and I are very much like, we like to go to farmers markets and do stuff like that. So we'll try to find a farmer's market near us. And like Saturdays, there's one in Crystal Lake.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And like Sundays, there's also a different one in Crystal Lake. So like we'll go to like a farmer's market, or we'll go grocery shopping or something, like me, Theo, and Brady. And then we'll come back, wind down a little bit, like make sure Theo's like chilling, like not too crazy. And we'll sit outside on like our deck, or we'll sit in the living room and like just like all be as a family, let Theo play. And then our day usually ends with like, there's lots of titty in between them.
Yeah.
Gotta feed the baby.
Can't forget the titty. And then our day will like end with either like Theo's bath time, or we'll just like get Theo ready for bed and put him to sleep. And then that's when we're like, all right, like, do we want to watch a movie? Do we want to do this together? What do we want to do? Like us two.
Yeah. I love that.
And like a lot of the time it's, can we just go lay in bed? Like, I'm tired. I'm bored. And he's like, yeah, for sure. He's like, babe, I just need to lay down. I'm like, okay, all right, let's just lay down.
Gosh.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people too have like asked me like, is it hard being intimate with your partner like since having a child?
Yeah.
For some people, sure, but like ever since I popped a baby out, it's like Brady wants to put another one in me. So it's like, you know, when we have like that free time, it's like, it's important to like make time for that intimacy, because otherwise you get into like this like roommate phase. Where you're like roommates, not really like, you know, about each other. You're just getting through the day, surviving. And like, I think from the beginning, that was really important to me and Brady, is like, we don't have that roommate phase. Like,
right. You guys got to keep like,
we gotta
the love
keep the
alive.
love alive. You know? We gotta keep it spicy.
Right. And I think that just attests to your partnership together, and like that you both picked the right person to do this with. And because I feel like, again, a lot of people that I've just seen or heard about or whatnot, they really struggle with that, and they do fall into that roommate phase. So, and again, not necessarily maybe saying that they didn't have a baby with the right person, but it just might be a little bit harder for them if they weren't on the same wavelength, or you never know how their child is acting or whatnot. So it could be a bunch of different things, but I think that just shows that you guys are just like really strong together, which is really, really important.
You make me feel like I could do it. Like, you know, like, but did it take a lot of like trial and error to find like, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Would you say that the routine that you guys have now is like a solid routine that works for you guys like pretty effectively, or are you still kind of figuring out like a routine with Theo?
I think it works pretty well for us.
Okay.
Now. Like, and it did take like, I would say we just got it down like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Like,
so it was a progress.
So you've only been doing this for 4 months.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know,
Right?
So it's like, it'll take months to like find a normal routine with a baby. Especially like getting out of the house with a baby is so hard.
Yeah.
It's like not even like, oh, he has a lot of stuff. You put him in a stroller. He gives you the look, and he shits all over. And you're like, oh, shit. You're like, I gotta go with you. But you're like, I'm not gonna let you sit in your shit. So then you pick him up. You go and you change him.
Right.
And then by the time you change him, it's the time that you were supposed to be wherever you were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
well,
we're trying.
We're trying.
You know
Trial
what?
and error,
I'm
you know?
trying hard.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay. Because, yeah, it sounds like you guys have a nice routine down. It's like I feel you just got to find that balance, you know? Because for me as a person, I just get worked up real easily. So I'm like, oh, my God. But no, it's just it takes time, patience, and then obviously you were saying a good partner to help you along the way.
Yes.
But,
yeah, I think, again, the partner thing is so important because as your baby gets older, the routine's going to have to switch. Once, I feel like everybody says once you get comfortable in a routine, something happens.
Yep.
And then you have to, like, switch what you were doing or, you know. So just having that, like, open and honest communication and be, like, willing to be flexible with it all, I feel like is the most important.
Flexibility is so important as a parent. Like, so important because it's like you think one thing, like you said, you think one thing works, and then your child looks at you and is like, no.
Not anymore.
I was just kidding.
Yeah. I feel like I got that as a teacher. When I was teaching special ed, like one time one strategy would work and we would all be like, yes, finally. And then we would try it again and the kid would just like go ballistic. And we're like, oh, okay, back to square one. Like trying to figure this out again. But it's just like a guessing game. It's all about that flexibility.
Literally. So then your expectations just in general for motherhood, what you thought they were versus reality, are they pretty much the same? Or has Theo taught you like some unexpected things that you're like, oh shoot, I was not really expecting this?
Again, I feel like being at a peds hospital, like I feel like it kind of prepared me a lot. But talking to like Brady, he's like, I was not expecting us to like lose as much sleep as we lost in the beginning. And like a lot of, I hated when people would be like, just wait. You think you're tired now? Just wait. I'm like,
somebody just posted their pregnancy online and I looked at the comments and that's what like half of them were. I'm like,
that's
why
like
the fuck are you saying that to someone?
I was like, no shit, I'm gonna lose sleep.
Literally, like what the
like
fuck?
what do you mean?
I was like, just wait, okay, thank you so much for being so supportive and so nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think like that was really hard for us at first, and then I feel like I did not expect to like still look at him 4 months later and be like, holy shit, that is my baby.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a mom. Like that's kind of crazy. Like there will be days where I'm like hanging out and then I'll like look at my phone and I'm like, wait, that's my baby.
Oh gosh.
Like, who are baby on my phone? Or like we have like the baby monitor, like it's a Nanit, so like it'll be like, oh, movement near Theo's crib. I'm like, oh shit,
Who's
Theo's
Theo?
crib. I'm like, movement in his crib. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I feel like I expected to just like fall right into motherhood, and I'm like, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
But, like no, I'm like still like, holy shit, like I'm a whole mother.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I am a parent to a whole person.
Right.
Now.
Literally.
That's refreshing to hear though, because I feel like when you hear people talking about motherhood, they have that like, as soon as he or she came out, like I was a mom, like I have everything, and I'm sure you felt all that love, of course, but it's like it does like take a few minutes to get adjusted to the whole thing. And
I felt the love immediately. Did I feel like I was a mother immediately?
Right.
Absolutely not. So when I read that people felt that way, I'm like, damn, is there something wrong with me? I'm like, I looked at this baby and I was like,
this is a cute baby.
I
I
love
love this baby,
I
but
love this baby.
Yeah.
But this baby's my baby. I'm confused. Like,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
like still look at him and I'm like, damn, I can't believe like that came out of me.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of surreal.
it's so crazy.
Like
It
I
is.
can't believe we all came out of our moms.
Yes.
I know,
like,
it's so weird.
yes. And now we're like
Whole people
Yeah.
having babies.
Yes. Yes. And I look at my mom and I was like, so like, did you feel like you were a mom immediately? She's like, absolutely not. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
She's like, I loved you. Don't get me wrong. She's like, but it took a while to adjust
Right.
to the fact that like, I am your mom. Like, I am a mom. That is like a part of my identity now.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And you're like that baby's sole protector. Like you and the father, like you now have to watch over that baby. Like
I would do anything for that baby.
Yeah.
Okay? If someone were to be like, okay, you can either protect your baby or like do some outrageous thing, I'm like, I'd do that thing. I'd streak in my neighborhood if it meant protecting my baby. Like,
Right.
I don't even care. I'd kill someone for my baby. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I love that little guy.
Right.
He is
Exactly.
I just love him. Like, I did not think that I was capable of feeling more love for someone. Because, like, I love Brady a lot. A lot. But I looked at that baby and I was like, sorry.
Yeah, that's what they say. It's like that.
Yeah.
You can't replace like a parent's love for their child. That's what my mom says all the time too. It's like, you know, I'm excited to experience that. You know,
Hopefully one day.
hopefully we'll see.
Well, kind of shifting gears a little bit and kind of talking a little bit more about the changes or maybe potential challenges. How has this shifted your career? Because you have a very taxing career.
Yes.
So how did that all work out?
I think I realized during maternity leave that I needed something a little more. I wouldn't say my job now is chill, but it's definitely not as stressful as being in the hospital. Like working at a pediatrician's office, I feel like is a lot better of a fit for me right now too as a mom, considering the fact that like I'm around sick kids, sure, but I'm not around like super sick kids.
Yeah.
Like I would see kids with cancer.
Oh,
I would see kids that were like passing away. I would see kids that were getting heart transplants. And I'm like, I feel like as a mom, that would have been really, really difficult to see. Like it was difficult for me to see when I was pregnant.
Of course.
But like seeing that as a mom, I feel like it would have completely just like changed me. Like I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I feel like my mental health would have severely like suffered. But like I love kids and I love pediatrics. I worked with adults for 5 years and I never felt like the joy that I felt working in pediatrics, even in those sad situations.
Yeah.
So I feel like as far as shifting, like I feel like the outpatient life is the life for me now. And Brady and I discuss this all the time, how we're like, we want to give our kids like a good life. So now it's like, okay, well, how do I shift from being a nurse to like making more money? You know, it's like, I want to make more money and I want to give my kids experiences like traveling.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff with them. I don't want them to be video gamers and like sitting on their butts at home. Like I want to give them experiences rather than like things.
Right.
So Brady and I have this discussion all the time where it's like, we both want to go back to school to be nurse practitioners.
Oh, nice.
But it's like, who does that first?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I told him, I'm like, you know, like, as far as like careers and like life, I'm like, it would make more sense for you to go back first, considering the fact that you and I want 2 under 2.
Yeah.
And
So
if
you
I'm
got-
pregnant during school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be.
that's going to suck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that.
Right. Right.
So I feel like that's how it's kind of shifted, where it's like, I kind of didn't really have a desire to go back to school because I'm not a school person.
Yeah.
No, girl, me too. I hate school. And I can only imagine a nurse practitioner. I could barely get through a freaking bachelor's degree in communication. I was like, get me out of here. I need to
Nursing
go.
school,
Yeah.
I was literally like, you know those like cartoons where like they're dragging themselves on the ground?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was literally me in nursing school.
Oh my
The thought of
gosh.
going back to school prior to having a child was like, hell no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but now it's like, okay, well, I need to make more money,
Right.
especially in this economy,
Yeah.
to give my kids a good life. Like I could give them a good life right now, but I want them to have an exceptional life. I want them to have a great life. Like
exactly.
And it's like, I could be satisfied with giving them, like, I wouldn't give them the bare minimum. I'd give them enough. But I'm like, I want them to look back on their childhood and be like, that shit rocked.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like, my
Yeah.
stepdad gave me the experiences of travel. And I was like, I want to give that to my kid, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
I know. I
Oh,
love that.
I love that. And I love how you guys like since Theo came, it kind of sounds like you guys already had certain plans in place. But now that Theo's in the picture, it's like even more exciting to like set those plans, really put them into motion.
Yeah.
You know, so that's awesome.
It's been really, really special. And it's like, you know, Brady's very supportive too. Like, he's like, I wish you could be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like,
yeah.
Brother, me too. Like, I wish
So
too.
you really have to go back to school and figure out what you're doing with your life.
Yeah. I was like, so
yeah,
when you
make
go
it
back to school and
happen.
make good money. But he's like, you know, I know that he knows me. He's like, but I know that being a stay-at-home mom, like, wouldn't be completely fulfilling for you.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
I still want a career.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, if you don't go back to school, like, I'll help you get through your injection certification. And, like,
That'd be
he's
awesome.
like, I'll be the nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
we could start a business. And I'm
No,
like,
Wait, this
seriously,
could
yeah.
work.
You could.
Yes.
Yeah, this could work. Okay, so thank you for sharing about your career. Now, you kind of talked about this at the beginning with your friends and stuff. How has Theo coming into the picture and you becoming a mom and, you know, like your mentality that I'm now going to be the lame friend and whatever it was.
Which is not true.
Which is not true. Exactly. How has being a mom transferred into your friendships?
I feel like my friends are like more involved
Mm-hmm.
now. Like now that I'm a mom, because I feel like they took a step back when I was pregnant because they just saw how I was like so exhausted all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was working night shift. I was living in the city, so it was like overwhelming for me to come here, and I was overwhelmed with them coming there. So it was like, I feel like my friends have done a really good job with meeting me where I'm at.
Okay.
That's so
So
important.
it's like, as soon as Theo was born, my friends are like, all right, I'm coming over. Let's go do this together. Please take Theo. Let's like, like, I feel like they've been very supportive of like doing more chill things rather than like, let's go bar hopping and like
of course.
all of that like fun stuff. And like, nothing wrong with bar hopping at all, but it's just like, I don't know. I want to spend time with my kid. And like, they've done a really good job with like understanding you need, like, I want to spend time with your kid too,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
like
right.
I want to be like a part of your child's life, which I
Yeah.
didn't expect that at all because I was like, you know, I expect like my mom's friends to like be a part of my kid's life, but like my regular friends, I'm sure they just want to see me. And that hasn't been the case at all. Like, I feel like they're like, thank you. Like, I'm here to see Theo. Like, bye.
Yeah.
So, like, that's been a really pleasant surprise for sure.
That's special.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of moms talk about, like, losing friendships. I feel like I haven't lost any. I feel like it kind of, like, strengthened a lot of my friendships.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I'll be like when any of my like close friends have kids. I'm just gonna be like, okay, well, let me keep that baby. Like, I want to come over and see that baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it is important too that I love how like your group still like asks you also to like go out and do things. It's not
Yes.
always just let me come see Theo. It's let me come see you and Theo, and
Yeah.
then if you want to bring him and we go at places, like that's great. So
Yes.
I think that that's really important too, just for like your mental health as well. Just making
Yes.
sure you're going out
Like,
and
still
about
going out
and
and socializing.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like super, super important. Like at first too, like I had a friend that came all the way out to the city, and like I thought they were just coming to the city to like hang out and like be at our apartment, but they're like, I'm taking you and Brady and Theo, and we're going out to eat because you guys have been sitting in your apartment
yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
let's go out to eat. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like, thank goodness. Like,
Yeah.
that was like so big for me because I was like, I'm just getting tired of being in this freaking apartment.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
called my apartment in the city my depression cave
Oh gosh.
because
yeah.
it was just like dark and moody and like
Yeah.
so small and
Yeah.
like it was just not a good time there.
Yeah.
Been there, done that,
Been
not
there,
going
done
back onto bigger, better
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. And then during this whole time of, you know, shifting into motherhood, how important were those like strong support systems for you, whether it be from your friends, your family, coworkers, whatever it may be?
I'm not being dramatic. I would die without my support systems. Like, especially like my family, who has been so amazing with like me going back to work and Brady going back to work, because on the days that we have that like intersect, they watch him.
Mm-hmm.
And like my stepdad will drive to pick up Theo.
Yeah.
And then take him back to my mom's.
Amazing. Yeah.
Which has been so helpful because like my one office is in South Elgin and my other office is in Crystal Lake, and they're all like off of one road.
Yeah.
So for me to drive was just
not manageable.
Not manageable. So
Right.
they've been amazing, and I literally don't know what I would have done without any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
My mom always sends us home with food.
Oh,
ooh, you
that's
got that home-cooked
important.
meal.
I got the home cooked meals, and I'm like, listen, that's so important.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if my mom didn't send us home with food, we wouldn't have eaten.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't
Theo would have
even.
gotten the titty, but you and Brady
Yeah.
would have been
Theo,
starving.
Titty. Me and Brady.
Whatever
Sad.
scraps you can find. Because I mean, even here, I live by myself, and sometimes like I can't even fathom cooking a dinner.
Yeah.
I couldn't admit like you working your job and then you coming home and being a whole mother. It's just like, and a wife. It's like, how do you balance that? So it's so nice that you have those people that
Yes.
like really take care of you and lift you up during that time.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, I've had friends that are like, do you and Brady need a date night? I can come watch Theo.
Aw.
And I'm like, thank you so much. But no, I want to hang out with Theo.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, Brady, but that's all right. Thank you. You know, like, and that's like been super special to me. Like, especially those people that have been like, hey, come on, like, bring Theo. Like, it's like very special because it's like, okay, like, they still want to hang out with me, but they also want to incorporate my child.
Yes.
That's awesome because that's so important. Because like your baby, that's an extension of you, you know.
That's me now, you know?
Yeah. So you gotta have him calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of support would you say was like the most helpful in your kind of early days of motherhood?
Yeah, like advice.
Technically,
for someone.
like you're still there. You're only 4 months
Right.
in, but
You should be, I don't know. I'm like, Justyna, she got her shit figured out.
it really, I know, like,
Guys,
oh gosh.
No. No. I think the most important support is like the people that reach out and like let you know that like you're still loved, like, and that they still want. I'm like a person where I'm like, do you hate me? Do you not like me?
100%.
And my husband's like, dude, shut up.
You're literally asking your husband, do you like still like me?
Yeah.
Or-
Like, today I get in the car, like driving home from work. I'm like, are you mad at me? And he's like, what? He's like, where'd that come from? I'm like, I'm just wondering. I hear that you're not, you know, like,
Yeah.
like, you still love me? And he's like, baby, I love you so much. He's like, now stop. I'm like, all right. But it's like those friendships that are like, hey, like, I still love you.
Yeah.
You're a mom, but I still love you as a mom.
Yes.
Like, I don't just love Justyna. I love Justyna the mom too. You know,
Yeah.
like, and it's been like, that support from my family especially has been so amazing and incredible. And like, I don't know what Brady and I would have done in Arizona. We probably would have died.
Yeah.
Because the meals, the watching Theo, even like the volunteering to like, hey, I could come over to your house while you
Right. It's just that offer.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how I would have done it.
I know. I feel like that's so important. Everybody needs like some type of support system if you're going to get through something like that, especially in like those first couple months. Like, it's so new. You're like changing your whole life, because even when you're pregnant, you're still doing it. It's maybe not technically the same as when the child is actually out and
But
like,
it's still hard.
yeah,
It's
100%.
still so hard.
I can't
Like,
imagine.
your life changes from the moment that you find out you're pregnant. It really does.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
you're
sure.
like, okay, well,
Yeah,
you know,
your
like-
perspective, everything has to switch.
like, it's like, I got invited to like go out a couple times, and I'm like, I don't really want to. Like, I don't know how else to say it other than I can't think of anything more miserable than a bunch of people in a club bumping into me as I'm sober and like have a baby.
Right.
And I'm like, this is literally horrible.
No, literally.
And
no.
like, it's been super awesome too. And like my family too, like in the beginning days, my mom has a key. So like she'd come into my house and like clean it up.
Oh, that's
Aw.
nice.
And I'm like, God bless you, Gosha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, girl. Like, you're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, totally could not have done it without them.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important.
I had another question in terms of, so obviously with the timeline, so you found out you're pregnant, then you became a wife, and then you became a mom. So now it kind of all happened relatively quickly.
Yes.
So how has it been to be a wife and then immediately like a mom? Like that dynamic with your partner, with Brady?
I did not think I could love Brady more, and then seeing him as a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Done. I'm locked in for life.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's mine.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, I look at Brady and I'm like, Dilf. What a guy. Like, and Brady says the same thing. He's like, I've loved you. Like, he's like, and I didn't think my love could grow for you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, but as soon as you became a mom, I don't know what changed inside of me. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm all about you. He's like, I'm crazy about you. And I'm like, that's how I feel too. Like, literally the moment he became dad, I'm like, like I feel a certain way. I'm like,
I'm gonna need 14 more of those kids. Please.
Yeah.
I see newborns at work all the time, and I text Brady, and I'm like, so,
Hey.
you want another? And he's like, you told me not to look at you till 2025. I'm like,
Okay, so we had a little technical difficulty in the middle of that, so we're just gonna move right along. So, Justyna, can you share a moment that just like made you feel so proud and accomplished, even just of Theo, or you guys just kind of as a whole unit? I'm sure there's
honestly,
a bunch.
there are a bunch. I had extreme difficulty breastfeeding at first. And like from day one, it doesn't matter if you formula feed or not, fed as best, blah, 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 but my goal was to breastfeed.
Okay.
And so I had extreme difficulty. Theo wouldn't latch. Theo had huge cheeks.
Oh no.
And a chin that was back here while his cheeks were like up here.
Yeah.
Like a little chipmunk.
Yes. So he had a lot of trouble. And like, I think that the first time that he latched, it was like the most incredible, most accomplished feeling I ever had. I was like, I'm giving him what he needs.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God. But it's also like the little smiles that we get when like he sees our faces. I'm like, yeah, I love you so much. Or like when I return, or like when I go to my mom's from work, or I return home from work. Same with Brady, and like he sees us, he's like,
oh, we get so excited.
I love you so much.
Yeah, he's like, that's my mom and dad.
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely like the most like proud and like heartwarming and like that's an accomplishment in itself that like he gets just so like happy and excited to see us. Like,
that's awesome.
That says a lot.
It does. Yeah, like your babies are so smart. I think I did a baby shower, and one of the quizzes was like how quickly can babies smile socially, and it's like within a few weeks that they can like they recognize a smile, you know, and they return it, and I'm like, that's so cute.
Yeah. So is there any like fun or cool ways, it could even just be like pictures or whatnot, that you document these moments, or like do you do anything to like, I don't know, his footprints or whatever?
So the day that he was born, Brady and I have like my first like year or whatever look for him.
Yeah.
And like we got his little fingerprints. We obviously, our phones are filled with pictures and video.
I just you posted on Instagram what he put up for your birthday, or like the pictures. God,
you guys are like model
this
family.
Is so cute, and like just like all like the facial features. I was like, I can't. I was like,
baby.
Oh my gosh.
I just love him so much. Brady, while I was at work, was researching how to use our camera well, so that he could take all those little pictures of him. And I was like, I saw the pictures and I was like,
oh my gosh,
so cute. My baby. Like,
so cute.
He, like, for us, the most important thing is like being able to look back at these pictures, these videos, these memories, and being like, yeah, like he was a happy baby.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know, I love that. I love like taking pictures and stuff too. So, I mean, right now my camera roll is full of Ozzy, my dog. So I can only imagine once I have a child what that's gonna look like.
I'm actually very bad at it, but Dylan, if you ask Dylan anything about, because we have 2 cats, he will pull you aside for 5 minutes and just scroll through the camera roll with the cats. I'm like, nobody cares about the cats.
That was Brady and I prior to Theo with Sadie. Literally, I would be at work and I'd be like, you want to see my dog?
Yeah.
Like,
They're like, no.
I literally don't care. I'm like, look, here she is on her back. Here she's smiling.
No, why is that me? Oh my
Like,
gosh,
nobody
that's
cares.
so bad.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But
But
you
we just
care.
love
You know,
that thing,
yeah,
that
it's for
animal,
you.
that baby so much.
Right.
You just want to show it off to the world.
Yes,
There's
and
nothing
that's
wrong
me
with that.
My baby. I'm like, look, here's my baby staring at the camera. Here he is staring at it again. Like,
Isn't he so cute?
yeah.
No.
That's so funny. So kind of now moving forward and just kind of starting to wrap up the conversation, how do you envision your future as an individual and as a parent? What's that look like?
I want many more. many, many more. Actually, ideally, I want 2.
Okay. 2 more or just 2
Two
together?
in general.
Okay.
In the perfect world, we would have a boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Brady says 3 will be an oopsie.
Okay.
But 1 was already an oopsie.
Yeah.
So
So,
we know this next-
like, let's be a little smarter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like as soon as I have number 2, I'll know. I'll be like, okay, I could have another.
Right.
Or this is it, yeah.
Right.
But you definitely want another right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Not like right this second.
Well, yes.
But like within the next like half a year, maybe like start trying for another, because we always wanted our kids to be closer in age.
Okay.
Because we want them to be friends, but we also, when the time comes for them to go to college, we would love to empty nest.
Yeah.
Like sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Instead of like 1 leaves and then 1 leaves 5 years later.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
You know?
my mom's friend situation right now, and I'm like, yeah, that's tough.
It's hard. It's like I don't know. I want my kids to be friends. I don't want my kids to be strangers. I want them to be in school together.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously they're gonna hate each other when they're young. Whatever. It is what
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Siblings, like you can't be best friends all the time.
But
you
it's
know?
like, I would have loved to have grown up with a sibling because I'm an only child.
That's right. You're an only child.
So I'm like, I would have loved to have a sibling to like even
Yeah.
fight with. Like,
Yeah.
I fought with my grandma. Like, okay,
What fun is that?
me and Bapsha were going at it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I can relate to that too, because I grew up as an only child until I was 18. So my cousins were like my siblings, but I only got to see them over the summer when I would go to Poland. So it's like I understand. You want that? I don't know. I would have loved to have Casper when I was little, like for us to be closer in age. Now I'm grateful I have him, but I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's different for sure. Definitely.
And then 2 more questions.
Yes.
I have a question too.
Okay.
This is separate to what? Yeah.
What are your hopes and dreams for your children, your child right now, and any that come along in the future?
Honestly, the most important thing for me and Brady is we want them to know like they're loved, and we always talk about this. We want them to feel comfortable coming to us with things, like not like, oh my gosh, I can't tell mom and dad, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we want them to be like, Mom, Dad, I'm drunk at a party. Can you come pick me
Yeah.
up?
Right,
Like, you
right.
know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna be like, you're drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
like, yes, of course I will come pick you up. Thank you for doing the smart thing.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh my God, I'm drunk at a party and I don't know what to do. I'm
Like no one to
panicking.
call. Yeah.
Right.
Like, and I want them to know, like, no matter what, like, we'll always accept them and love them, and it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care, like, what you do. I don't care what you love. I don't care who you love. I don't care who you do. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I just want you to know that, like, we love and accept you no matter what. Like,
That's
it's
so
just-
beautiful.
I know.
yeah.
And even through like our conversation now and just like your demeanor with everything when it comes to parenting, you can see that that's exactly what they're going to think of you guys. And you
you.
really already have like are great role models for him. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see
You're a
us.
good role model for me.
Literally,
I'm like, oh my God.
Amazing.
Yeah. I said, okay, maybe I can, because me and motherhood, I just like freak out. I'm like, I'm not ready. I can't do this. I don't know if I'll be a good mom.
Yeah.
But the way you speak about it, it's a team effort.
Yes.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Be in the moment. You know,
Yeah.
go with the flow. You got it. You know?
Yes.
It takes time to find a routine, but you will find it and all this stuff. But I'm not sure I don't know if your question is going to wrap it all up. But my question was with the breastfeeding thing.
Yeah.
Is it true that it's as special as they say it is?
Okay. He's like, okay.
No.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I truly like, okay, if you asked me this like in the beginning, I'd be like, I fucking hate this shit. I hate it. And I would be like, I'm failing my child. But like now I'm like, okay, so I pump at work and it's like, I'm a fucking cow.
Yeah.
This machine is literally sucking my nipples to the point where they're like this large. And I'm like, oh, ow. And then like I get home and then Theo's like feeding and I'm like, this is so special and I love him so much and I get to feed him and like my body does that. Like my body is doing this for him. Like, and like seeing him grow and like gain weight and do all the things that he's supposed to be doing, like from literally my body.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
this is kinda
amazing.
dope. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this
That's
is dope.
amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Women are crazy.
I know.
We are
we
superheroes. But then, yes, to kind of wrap up this whole conversation, what advice would you give to any young women or any partners that are looking to start this journey of parenthood?
Just do it. You're never going to be ready.
Just do it.
You're never going to be ready.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Like, ever. Like, you could prepare yourself 100 different ways. You will never be ready until that baby is right in front of you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be fine and I'm going to figure it out.
Okay.
That's like,
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do it.
I think that is so, like, I love that advice, though, because people
That's-
are scared and they have that fear, but it's like, you never know. Like, once you're in it, you know, you'll figure it out together. And I think, again, that most important part is what you said at the beginning is make sure you have your kids with the right person.
yes.
Right.
Again, sometimes some people aren't lucky enough to do that and things just happen, but you know,
A
find
good
that
foundation
person.
for anything, whether you're building a house, doing
Yes.
anything, you need that foundation in
You
all
need that
aspects of life.
foundation. And like, if you don't have them with a good partner, I hope you have a good support system.
Right. Yes.
Like, have support from someone is like my biggest piece of advice. Like, whether that is your partner, and hopefully it is, or if it's not, hopefully your family is like super supportive, or even like your friends. Like,
Yeah.
have
Exactly.
to be
Find someone.
someone to like step up.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for opening up to us about Theo. I know that's the biggest piece of your heart. So we really appreciate you coming on and giving us a little insight into your life and what motherhood is like. And we're so excited to see, you know, your journey as parents evolve.
Keep
So-
posting. I love.
Yes,
all
please,
that.
because every time I see that baby, I'm like, oh my gosh. I just love babies. They're so cute.
They're so cute.
But yes, thank you so much. And we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.